Muy buenas tardes a todas y a todos. Bienvenidos a esta pequeña celebración de nuestra fiesta nacional. Gracias al CEMUNAM Sudáfrica por haber coordinado esta amable reunión con ustedes y que la Embajada de México tenga la oportunidad de acercarse a, a los estudiantes que entusiastamente están aprendiendo nuestro idioma. Vamos a dar una presentación en donde yo les voy a estar explicando poco a poco, ¿sí? Si voy muy rápido y no entienden, levanten la mano para que Arturo o David me puedan pues llamar la atención al respecto.
Claro que sí, ministra.
Porque el chiste es de que entiendan bien de qué se tratan nuestras traditional ceremonies of el grito. Este año, esta es una grabación de la ceremonia del grito del año pasado. Bueno, pues más allá de todos los llamamientos de nuestro presidente, que ustedes lo están viendo en lo que conocemos como el palco central de nuestro Palacio Nacional, que es equivalente a los Union Buildings aquí en Pretoria. Este palacio da al principal espacio de reunión de la capital de México, Mexico City, que nosotros le llamamos Zócalo. Es un gran cuadrado en donde se pueden reunir hasta 250,000 personas. Sí, escucharon bien. 250,000 people can be within the Zócalo. Al norte, ustedes van a ver la catedral. En México, casi el 90% de los mexicanos nos asumimos católicos. En el lado oriente, está Palacio Nacional. En el lado sur está la sede del gobierno de la Ciudad de México. Y claro, el año pasado, por el COVID, pues no se pudo convocar a la población, pero normalmente pues esa plaza, está llena de gente entusiasta celebrando la ceremonia del grito de independencia. Entonces ya vimos el Independence grito by President López Obrador from Palacio Nacional in Mexico City. Este es el mapa del territorio mexicano. Los diferentes colores son nuestros diferentes 32 estados, equivalent to the 9 South African provinces. We have 32 provinces. En todos ellos se celebra también el grito, y en cada una de los municipios, también en las plazas principales, se celebra. The ceremony is held also all around the world, and every embassy and consulate of Mexico has to celebrate it. Aquí van a ver diferentes celebraciones en diferentes ciudades de México y también en diferentes lugares donde tenemos nuestras embajadas. ¿Por qué septiembre es tan importante? Why is September so relevant to Mexico? Porque comenzamos el mes con el informe de gobierno. That is the equivalent of SONA to South Africa. Después, el día 13, conmemoramos la defensa del castillo de Chapultepec. This is not the original castle. This is the palace of Chapultepec that was built 20 years later. But there was a fort that was defending Mexico City when the U.S. troops arrived. And as you know, after that war, we lost Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California. That is why all the names in those states of the U.S. Have Spanish names, as you may be aware when you watch the movies. Este es el monumento a los niños héroes. Después, el inicio de la independencia por Miguel Hidalgo, que fue el primero que dio el grito convocando a la independencia. Y finalmente, el 27 de septiembre, que es la consumación de la independencia, cuando finalmente el ejército insurgente entra a la Ciudad de México y se termina la guerra de la independencia. ¿Por qué este año, 2021? Why is this year so important? This is because of the foundation of Mexico Tenochtitlan in 1321. Mexico Tenochtitlan was the former city that was located where Mexico City is. Right now, all the ruins of Tenochtitlan are below the buildings of Mexico City. There we have the museum of the Templo Mayor that is under the cathedral and the Palacio Nacional when you decide to go and visit us. In August, we celebrated the fall of Mexico in 1521. It was led by Hernán Cortés, the Spaniard conqueror that led all the troops from Tlaxcaltecas and other tribes that were enemies of the Aztecas, who were the founders of Mexico Tenochtitlan. And also the 200 years, the bicentennial of the consummation of the Mexican independence. We also are celebrating 200 years of the anniversary of the creation of one of the most gastronomic dishes from our country that are called chiles en nogada. We invite you to follow us on social networks at Embamex Sud or on Instagram and Embassy of Mexico in South Africa for Facebook. You will find a class to learn how to prepare chiles en nogada. Then send us a picture of your creation. We will post a picture of on Facebook. The one with the most likes will receive a hamper of Mexican products. So come on and they're doing it. And we would like to invite you all to follow this year's ceremony of the Grito de Independencia, organized by the Mexican Embassy in South Africa in our social media. I will stop here and I will be here to answer any questions and doubts you have. Gracias, David. Gracias, Arturo.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ministra Gabriela. Thank you very much, Gabi. Muchas gracias. And yes, there have been some questions that we have passed on to Lulu, and I give you the floor again so you can help us answer it. Thank you, Gabi.
Why do we call it cry? Because do you remember the picture of Miguel Hidalgo? Maybe you can put it, Lulu. There, that one. That is me, Father Miguel Hidalgo y Costilla, and on the early morning, at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning of 16 September 1810, he called all the population of his parish in Dolores to join the Mexican independence, and that is where the revolution of independence, our freedom fight, started, with a cry convening the people to join the movement. That is why we celebrate with El Grito. And why the bicentennial this year? Of course, you can ask yourselves, well, how come if the El Grito was given on 16 September 1810, because it was in 2010 that we celebrated the bicentennial. Yes, you know why? Because Mexicans, we love to celebrate. So we don't need very much excuses to grab them and make a fiesta. So in 2010, we celebrated the bicentennial of the beginning of our freedom fight. And right now, we are celebrating the end of our freedom fight that was that was on the 27th September 1821. What is Nogada? I don't know very much of sauces, but the Nogada is called the white sauce that you see on top of the chile, and it is based with cream and other ingredients and what we call the nuez de Castilla. Nuez, how do you call it? The walnut. What you call walnut here in South Africa. And the walnut and the grenade of pomegranate in Mexico, it is only it is seasonal between August and September, at the beginning of October. So that is why the whole month of September we can have chiles en nogada. Well, right now, if you can if you freeze them, you can have it throughout the year, but it is better to have them fresh. I haven't had lunch. That is Mina. Well, there is the mole. That is the typical dish. It is chicken with a sauce with around 16 kinds of chili. Some of them they are hot, some of them aren't, and with chocolate. That is why it is a brown and even black sauce. We have different moles in Mexico. We have green mole, red mole, black mole, depending on the regions of our territory. The pozole. Lulu, I tell you, I have that lunch. Well, the pozole is made of pork, and usually we used to have it when you have a hangover in the morning, or if you are in a wedding and you started at noon, then you can give it before the people go home, so that they don't have any traffic problems, for example. And it is given on today's dinner, because remember, the chiles en nogada was created 200 years ago for the entrance of the insurgent of our freedom fighters troops in Mexico City. So It was the first time that it was offered was on the 27th September 1821. So it is right now we have it all September, but the pozole we have it usually on the night of the 15th September. Well, I really don't know if they have been if they have convened the people, because we still have in Mexico City, we still have measures. We have had the third wave, a very long third wave, and in Mexico City the most, because I don't know if you have been taught that Mexico City is on a valley, well, within a valley that is 40 kilometers from north to south and 25 kilometers from east to west. It is surrounded by volcanoes and very high mountains. From the eastern part, the southern part, and the western part, we don't have mountains on the northern part. And within this valley, 22 million people live. Well, and we are not 22 million Germans that are organized. No, we are 22 million Mexicans. And we like fiestas, and we like to share with each other, and we like to be with each other. So we have had a lot of COVID problems, a lot of deaths, unfortunately. The rate of deaths in Mexico City has been really, really high. And so our authorities, our local authorities, are still having some measures to prevent COVID infections. The fireworks, yes, they don't contaminate COVID. So we have mariachis, of course, and we have fireworks, mainly fireworks. Well, yes, it is very. It goes simultaneously with the history of Spain and the history of the rest of Latin America, because when Spain was conquered by Napoleon in 1808, he put his brother-in-law as the king of Spain. But of course, he was not the king of Spain. And many people, liberals in Spain and liberals in all the, no, not even liberals, everybody in the colonies in Latin America, because we didn't recognize whom was known as Pepe Botella. Botella is bottle, and he was known as Pepe Botella because he liked wine and he was usually drunk. All from Spain, they convened what is known the Las Cortes de Cádiz in 1812, where all the representatives of all the colonies arrived and decided to install a liberal regime. But then Felipe VII, Fernando VII, Ferdinand VII, came back to the throne, and the monarchy was installed again until 1821, where the revolution of Colonel Riego was triumphant in Spain, and they installed again the liberal regime that the Cortes de Cádiz decided to install in Spain in 1812. This is Spain's history, and I want to stress the dates. Of course, in those days, was the news didn't arrive by Whats. They didn't even arrive by phone or by the newspapers. They arrived by boat. And if it was stormy, then they took around 4 or 5 months to arrive all these news from Spain to Latin America. So when we knew about what was happening in Spain, in our actual territory, Mexico didn't exist. Mexico started to exist until 1821. It was called the New Spain. And the New Spain, the territory of the New Spain was from Oregon, California, all the southern states of the US, all what nowadays is Mexico and Central America. We decided to not to recognize Napoleon's regime. So that is why we started in New Spain, but in all the Latin American colonies, they decided exactly the same as in New Spain to start our liberation from Spain. That is why we started. It is more complicated, but it would be a very long history class for you to understand the problems between the audiencia and the alcaldías, and why you saw Padre Hidalgo, that was a criollo, that was a white Spanish born in America, who led the indigenous peoples towards our freedom fight. And why it was, but it was interesting because when the Spanish king came back to Spain, the revolution, the independence revolution, kind of almost stopped. It prevailed in the coast, where Veracruz and Guerrero are now, the port of Veracruz and the port of Acapulco, that were the main ports to link Europe with New Spain and then with China. There was a guerrilla war, but it prevailed from 1813, 1814 until 1821, when everybody in New Spain decided to to convene for the independence of our country, definitely from Spain, and that is why it took so long. In other Latin American countries, it took also long. Some of them got the independence in 1816, 1819, even in 1824. Bolivia was the last one in 1825. But more or less, it is the same movements of independence that we had in all the Spanish colonies in Latin America today.
Okay, so I believe those were all the questions that our audience had for you, Gabi. And thank you very much for your kind talk. It was really interesting. And I saw that you shared already your Instagram and the embassy Facebook. So the audience can watch the ceremony that you talk in the beginning, right? Just to confirm, Gabi, at what time the ceremony is starting?
At 5 o'clock.
Okay.
The streaming will start will be posted at 5 o'clock.
Okay, excellent. Okay.
And well, just to finish, for your students, this is a very typical textile from Mexico.
Right.
That we call rebozo, and there are different rebozos depending on the different states of Mexico. The most The fanciest ones are those of Santa Maria in San Luis Potosí. They are made of silk, and they are as beautiful as your equivalent of rebosos here in South Africa.
Right. Now, and thank you that you mentioned that, Gabi, because that links us to the exhibition that we have from Mexican textiles in Pretoria at the viewing room in art gallery in Brooklyn Circle. And yeah, thank you for that. Again, it's always a pleasure to have the Embassy of Mexico in our activities. Thank you, Gabi, for your generosity. And thank you, everyone, for being here with us. And don't miss the ceremony of our independence.
Thank you very much, Gabi, and have a wonderful Día del Grito.
Thank you, both of you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And if you need me to go over some other issues on the independence or other history, remember that I studied history and I was specialized in contemporary history of Mexico. So I really offer you to invite me whenever you need.
Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Gabi. Have a wonderful day and celebration of the Bicentenario de la Independencia. It's really a historic moment.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.